All right, welcome back everybody for our last session of the day. We are going to hear from Rita Cow, who's at Swinburne University of Technology, and her presentation is Beyond Counting Clicks, Strategic Resource Management via Automated Usage Data. Rita is the Library Resources Analyst at Swinburne University of Technology Library. With a decade of experience in academic librarianship and management, Rita transitioned from a background rich in library collections management and information literacy to spearhead data-driven initiatives in the library sector. She's currently the directs the Data Skills Development Program, focusing on advancing staff expertise in data literacy and analytics to boost user engagement and operational efficiency. Her strategic approach promotes robust data management and informed decision-making within the institution. She is committed to leveraging technology and advocates for improving access and utilization of information, ensuring the library's central role in the academic community. Thanks, Rita.
Thanks, Ella. Can everyone hear my sound okay?
Yes, and I can see your slides as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sticking around for my presentations. It's been a really informative day and I have enjoyed the conference so far. I have learned a lot too, so I hope you could learn something from my presentation. My name is Rita Cow. I'm the resource analyst at Swinburne University of Technology Library. And what I'm going to do is talk about our approach that utilize SUSHI harvesting and Power Automate to automate the collections of counter usage statistics into ALMA and Power BI, and how integrating the counter data with access metrics has enhanced our ability to review and analyze resource utilization. Just a bit of the intro, that Swinburne University is a medium-sized rural sector research university, and we have over 36,000 students in 2023 across 3 campuses based in Melbourne. We have one in Sydney, another in Sarawak, Malaysia, and Swinburne Online. So we have some of the Harvard data challenges. And we all know library have struggled in accessing electronic resources code effectiveness due to e-resource usage data is spread across multiple vendor platforms and making it difficult and time-consuming to answer questions or create timely, comprehensive reports. So the initial solution that we use is to configure ALMA to gather all our vendor usage reports using the standardized usage statistic harvesting initiative, or you could call it SUSHI. And this has been actually working really well for us. We're able to get the data that we need more quickly and easily. The setup was done by our former colleague, Mr. Morgan, who said that it was a time-consuming process, she admitted, but to set it up is worth the process. And we have consistent data coming in every month for reporting. And when we have got it, it's been working pretty well. However, it does create other problems with the errors, glitches that the harvest need to be monitored regularly, or return the now report. And then in that case, we have to rerun the now report to get complete data. The non-counter compliant data that does not support SUSHI harvesting were collected manually by one of our staff, and all of these problems have made it difficult in assessing the code effectiveness, electronic resources subscriptions, and managing their usage data. So our solutions that we have implemented at Swinburne, that I have developed the usage analysis dashboards using the automated aggregated data harvesting from ALMA and open authentication data to review and analyze result utilizations. The automation that cover all the vendor usage report using SUSHI in ALMA and SUSHI servers. Enhancing insight with open authentications usage data would also provide us the ability to cross-check the usage pattern and non-counter usage data, which are normally not available via ALMA. Automating the aggregating of the counter usage and the authentication usage into Power BI have been really useful for data visualizations and integrate with other data sets such as physical loans, interlibrary loan for comprehensive monthly resort management report. So this is a diagram of automating usage data from vendor platforms into Power BI. So we could have ALMA configure to consolidate all of the counter data from different vendor platforms using the SUSHI harvesting on the SUSHI servers. And then we have used Power Automate to automate the process of extracting the ALMA analytic report data into Power BI and then send notification to MS Team. Also, I couldn't get Power BI to communicate directly with ALMA Analytics. I was able to use this method and it's working pretty well. We also use Hypertext Preprocessor PHP web page as a middleware to connect OpenAuth REST API with Power BI. And once this set up, they require no human involvement to gather, consolidate, extract, integrate, or transform or update data. So yeah, that's really a saving time tool. So this is one of the examples how vendor SUSHI account is configured in ALMA. And you will need to put in some typical information such as vendor URL, requester ID, customer ID, and API key. So those are the required information to configure the vendor SUSHI account into ALMA, and the information normally can be requested via the vendor or the serve if using the SUSHI servers. Then you can choose the report that you want to include. We use Power Automate to process the harvesting of ALMA analytic data into Power BI, and the usage was scheduled for automatic delivery as Excel attachments to a designated library email account. So the attachments were then retrieved by Power Automate, which systematically organize them into specified separate folders based on their subject lines. And the path to the folder was integrated with Power BI, enabling automatic data refresh whenever new files were added. And this integration facilitated the generation of updated Power BI reports, which were subsequently published and notification was sent to the Microsoft Teams channel. In this example, I use Copilot in Power Automate to generate a flow and apply the necessary parameters in the flow in less than 60 seconds. So in less than 60 seconds, and based on the prompt we provided as on the screen, Copilot in Power Automate with a chat-like experience like ChatGPT speed up the creation and edit of the flow throughout the automation process. Prior to the automation, the process required weekly manual data transfers by the library staff and who copy circulation transaction statistics into Power BI dataset on set point to refresh and then publish report. So it's really time consuming. So it has been a major achievement for us. With the open Athens data, we use PHP script to automate harvesting the authentication data into Power BI. So on the screen is an example of the script that we created to get the faculty metrics into Power BI. So you see it have a string of the first one is the open Athens report in PHP, and then after that would be all of the parameters as you see a monthly report, and it's from January 2023, and the attribute is faculty. So the result access report covers the transfer of user to resource and focus on the usage and access of specific resources. So with this report, we have been able to find the answer for some of the questions that we normally can't find in the counter usage data. For example, as who using our resources, whether the resource are used on campus or off campus, what are the peak hours, days, or month of usage, or is the library providing the most preferred resource? So Open Athens access stats help to evaluate the popularity and utilization of different resources. In the Power BI dashboard, we would have a filter that have a list of different POI or different resort titles that we could filter for certain and typical resort and see the trends by day, by month, by hours, by faculty, and by the individual users based on Open Athens data as well. It helps us to identify trends in usage, in user access patterns, and address any issues related to resort availability or access permissions. It's quite seamless, efficient, and accurate data to retrieve. So this is one of the mock-up data that I have made for demonstrations. So after the configuration and automate the integration, we have already dashboard or report that produce real-time monthly data on counter usage by resort type that could be saved with the wider library. And this report allows us to compare the month-over-month usage with the same period last year. The Open Athens Resort Access Report also covers the transfer of users to resources, focus on the usage and access of specific resource. In this live chat is the trend over time, month on month, from 2022 to 2023 of resort usage trend. And it helps to evaluate the popularity and utilization of different resources at different time. So on the Power BI dashboard, when we have the filter, for example, if we filter for the upscore result, for example, then it could filter for the chance of upscore, how our user have interact with the upscore database month over month. And it helps to evaluate different resort, identify change in user set pattern. It also read any issues related to resort availability as well. The other example metric that we were able to retrieve from the Open Athens data is the resort usage by user affiliations. Different resources may be used differently by user affiliation. For example, some results that majority being used by students, but some of the research journal majority would be used by staff. So this has been very helpful for us when it counts successfully authentication into OpenAthene, and it solely focus on user activity. So it gives us the usage pattern and monitor the engagement with resources. It also identifies like any potential issue or discrepancy in account activity as well. This is another example of the metric usage by campus. So we'll be able to see usage by different campus, and then to with Swinburne, we have two components about Swinburne on campus and Swinburne online, and it's helpful to give us the insight of what the proportion that Swinburne online have used as well. So this is the metric for resource usage by faculty. Again, this is a mock-up data due to the confidential information. But the implementation and use of the reporting API tool would extract OpenAthene patient usage data into existing data visualization software, have enhanced our staff capability to make database decisions. And the OpenAthene reporting API have also allowed us to automate resource usage data into our resource analysis dashboards. And it had enabled us to communicate with different school or faculty when a possible cancellation is raised. Next slide would be a mock-up data for the annual e-resource usage analysis visualization from the Power BI dashboard. So all the data used in this presentation is for demonstration purpose only. And the quadrant here, so inside about cost and how the e-resource were used, it does represent an order or pure line an e-resource title. Resort in the upper left quadrant with green dot are expensive but have a low cost per use. So they highly utilize despite the high cost, so making them valuable investment and worth renewing. While in the lower left quadrant are inexpensive resource and have a low cost per use. So these are optimal resources providing good value for money. In the lower right quadrant with orange dots are the low-cost resources, but have a high cost per use. So this suggests us that efforts should be made to promote the content or to increase the usage and cost effectiveness. In the upper right quadrant with red dots, so those are the naughty ones, and they are the expensive titles and have high cost per use. These are flagged for review, deep dive analysis to unbundle or potentially cancellation or renegotiations, as they are not cost effective. So for the data visualization and the insight, we sort of can optimize the resource allocations and ensuring that the funds are spent on the most valuable and cost-effective resources while minimizing the waste on underutilized or overly expensive resource. And by hover X of the dot, we will be able to see, for example, here is a result title KEM, then you could be able to see this is a very high cost per use. It also have high cost as well. So these tables is another visualization of data that highlight the top 15 e-resources with the highest cost per use all have low uses. That's why the cost per use really high. So this suggesting that despite varying subscription costs, the resorts are not providing good value for money and should be reviewed for promotion or potentially cancellations. So you could see the one that been highlighted there, they have very high cost per use and high cost as well. So the one definitely would need further analysis and review. So the outcomes of this, the open attend authentication data had enhanced our insight into resource usage and user engagement that normally could not be told by viewing the counter usage data. And collection staff in library have used the aggregated data to understand how different resources are being used and by which type of user groups. The integration of timely usage data analytics into decision-making processes has informed our collection development, and that aligns with user needs. The analysis of e-resort usage patterns also led to a reallocation of boxes toward more popular contents, significantly enhancing operational efficiency and user satisfaction. What we usually used to spend days doing is now possible in just moments, and with a click refresh and the up-to-date information is there in the dashboard. So the implementation of automated data processing has reduced the time needed for routine data collections and analysis from hours down to minutes. And this transformation had not only increased the efficiency of library operation, but had also allowed us staff to focus more on strategic tasks and user interactions. The usage data insight also help us to engage at school and course level to potentially enhance student engagement and tailor strategy with subject librarians and academic staff accordingly. And certainly it's a better resource allocation. We have return on investment and optimize for maximum impact. Best practice here, data analysis were really critical. One, we have config and integrated into the report. Then Power BI tool is a good way to visualize data. But also don't forget the overlap analysis and denial report, because they could provide HR insight into whether we have the result elsewhere in other database, enabled to unbundle or possibly cancel the denial response to see whether we need to extend our collection with the high use resources. OpenApp can only allow querying 12 months at a time, 7 days and 30 days for other granularity modes, such as the result used by username data. So query OpenApp data by each year will allow us to have live year-over-year usage data for analysis and meaningful comparisons. Automating the extraction and integration of data from diverse systems into Power BI was crucial for our team in developing timely and insightful report. So next step, we think we would want to evaluate the usage of e-resort by users to identify level of engagement with school and course level, and to inform resort provisions, given that the privacy confidential clause is satisfied, and more granular report in e-resort uses by high-risk resources, and to have a holistic view about resort uses. We also aim to integrate written list data from Leganto into the dashboards for further insights. Other metric that we also want to look at is the PMO usage data. Again, other library usage data to have more insight into our resort utilizations. So to conclude, the merging counter data with other metrics have really streamlined our decision making and effectively communicate key findings to stakeholders. It had also enhanced our ability to review and analyze result utilization efficiently. I think that's all for me.
Thank you, Rita. We have one question posted to the chat at the moment. Do you have any analysis that use data from both ALMA and Open Athens together?
Yes, we do. So we have the Power BI reports for specifically ALMA data, and another one for resort and access management for Open Athens. And we could integrate into one report. So we have a single platform able to look at both counter data to be able to see uses by article and chapter levels. They also have Open Athens enabled to view the user activities, engage with our resources as well. So once you have all of this set up, you can integrate both into one Power BI dashboard and to have all the metrics in one report so that you can either share live report in Teams by email or by link to different stakeholders.
Okay, thank you. And I think that's it for chat. Oh, no, sorry, there's one more. We see you have LibKey. Do you use any of their data in your analysis?
Could you say again, please?
We see you have LibKey. Do you use any of their data?
Yeah, right. Very good question. We just implemented LibKey few months ago. Haven't had any idea how we're going to use LibKey, but very interesting data indeed, because it does reduce the time of our patient access full text. So definitely it's an improvement in service, enable to give our user a more seamless access to existing resources. And yeah, I think that another great metric to integrate into a holistic view of resource utilizations. Thanks.
Thanks, Rita. I'll pass back to Ella now to wrap up the session.